What's going on, guys? It's Chad. We're here back on some more Modern Warfare 2. And again, by the way, dude, it has been insane recently. Like, the amount of people that are actually playing this game, regardless of, like, how some people are, like, upset about it, they're salty about it, they're getting annoyed about the game. This, yesterday, is actually the highest and biggest launch that Call of Duty has ever had, ever in the history of Call of Duty. This game is the biggest Call of Duty that has ever been released, regardless of the complaints that we have. And for sure, this game is not perfect. And sales numbers and shit like that do not determine whether something is actually good or not. It's just popularized. There have been plenty of shitty things out there that have been popularized, with everybody collectively knowing that it really ain't shit. Don't play dumb. I have the riot shield done. I have all the sniper rifles done. I have finished all the marksman rifles except one. All of the shotguns are done. I haven't touched any of the LMGs. Haven't touched any of the SMGs. I had to max out that Lockman. This shit was trash. And yes, everybody was telling me to go and switch over to full auto. It makes it a lot better. Here's the thing. This thing's damage is already pretty terrible in 7.62 version anyway. The Lockman platform in general is not bad at all. The AR and the SMG are great, but this battle rifle version is terrible. And when you switch it over to full auto, by the way, anybody that thinks like, oh, just switching over to full auto just makes it so like your gun is automatically better, that's not the truth. Switching to full auto actually changes your weapon's damage profile. It does make it weaker. Now, yes, it is still preference. You could just go full auto, right? It's even weaker now. So like, yeah, fuck that. It seemed much stronger in beta. I remember when people found out that you could put this in full auto, but over on this game, it just, I don't know, in full auto, it was really not good. I finished it out regardless, but that shit sucked. It's surprising how many people don't know about that full auto feature, though. It's not just about knowing that the feature exists. Did you also know that the feature also nerfs the weapon's damage? Seems like we're like halfway through the gold. The biggest issue with this TAC M, like I was dreading this thing, but to be honest, it is still better than the Lockman. Full auto or not, yeah, this is definitely still better than the Lockman battle rifle. It's 2 shots at most distances. I mean, it's pretty strong, but the fire rate, you can't do anything about the fire rate no matter how fast you hit it. Look at this. I should be completely... Also, there's so many people that always say this shit. I mean, this has been a thing for years. How it goes because of skill-based matchmaking. People are like, oh, I wish my lobbies were this bad. How do you get all these highlights? All these people are so bad. Every lobby that I'm in, everybody's so sweaty. It's such a multifaceted issue at this point. Again, I just have to say, we don't play the same game. And also understand, when you see highlights, you're seeing the highlights, not the lowlights. You're seeing the absolute best highlights of things that are the most entertaining things to watch. In terms of just like mashing together with stupid music and funny moments and shit like that. The way that I make content and montages, it's always been about the amount of kills that you get, not the quality of opponents. So obviously, if the players are bad, yes, I'm going to clip them and I'm going to use it. Good players would not allow me to do that to them, right? Because they're good. Can I do it to them? Sure. But it's gonna happen a lot less. Just because you see a clip of one of my lobbies where the people are actually not beating the shit out of me, which happens more often than you can see. That's the best that I had within that time. Also, I've done the majority of my leveling and literally all of my challenges in 6v6. Not to mention the way that this skill-based matchmaking works, the better you play, the worse your connection gets. Because it keeps trying to match you up into better and better people, completely disregarding your connection at that point. Once you get far enough, you have 1 or 2 games and you're in the league. And you're gonna get shut down for the next 5+ games or so. They just won't be nearly as fun as that shit. Pick a corner, any corner. I know, it's really hard to hide in here in comparison to Modern Warfare 2019. You're very out of your element. Look at him. Look at him. Absolutely zero. Using your ears is not a skill set. It's a privilege to have that sense. It is not a skill. Newborns react to sound. It's not a skill. One thing that's crazy with this invasion mode is that there are so many things that you can do in this mode to really cheese the amount of like weapon levels that you can get. But a lot of it is being done through like this invasion mode. And it was the way to do weapon levels earlier. But now at this point, since so many people are aware of, you know, how this works and how many different ways you can do things and earn XP and basically exploit, I would say that this mode, there's multiple exploits. Now, obviously, you can do this mode in a way that is not in this super exploity way. Like, yes, you can go and kill the bots and stuff like that. But there's also really cheesy things that people are doing to really, like, multiply the amount of XP that they're getting. For example, there's, like, this one exploit that I saw somebody do. It ended up dropping that one, like, noise suppression mine thing inside of the top of the tank. And it, like, just generated thousands of XP, which all go into the weapon that you have out. You don't even need to get kills with the actual weapon itself. You could get kills like in the tank and it works. So yes, while I don't think invasion is technically cheating, it is likely that if somebody played a lot of invasion, it is definitely more likely that there are a lot of exploits that they could have used to level up much faster. Now, I ain't even mad at it to the people that, you know, are using. I'm just making sure that people are aware. Now, to finish this as quickly as possible, I really should do it that way. But in all honesty, I'm not that efficient at it. I don't think I'm even good at doing whatever the cheesy strats would be. I don't know of a situation where I would have to use that noise suppression thing inside of tanks and shit. Like, do you know how hard that would be? You know how hard it would be to get in there and try to do that? The situation that you have to be in to make that happen? Oh, so I don't really know what I was naming the title of this video, but this game, on top of, like, obviously some of the broken things, and even though I'm enjoying this thing more than most Call of Duties, I'd say in the past like 5+ years, I'd say. Guy's swimming out here? What the fuck is he doing? They literally just drove their vehicle over there and they're just shooting bots out of the sky. And yeah, you don't complete camo challenges by doing it, but the hardest part about leveling up camos, the challenges aren't the hard part. It's the weapon leveling that is the time consuming part, and they've already shortened it to begin with. You can get a max weapon level in a couple hours, whereas before you have to get that shit all the way up to level 70. It's disgusting. With everybody being more and more aware of this mode being, you know, as efficient as it is, at least in terms of weapon XP. For example, the guy over here, they're just standing there. They're not even interacting with any of this. They're just driving completely around, and there's multiple people. This isn't just a couple people that are doing it. It's multiple people going around the sides, and you're at this point fighting more real people than you are fake people because everyone's aware of how efficient it is. But besides all this shit, there are things that are broken in this game that kind of, there's no excuse to really not even have it. Not even just broken, like literally just straight up missing features. Like a combat record. I didn't realize that there were literally no barracks in this game. How are there no barracks in Call of Duty? I'm so confused. I thought it was weird when we didn't have leaderboards before, but now we don't have leaderboards, we have no combat record, we don't know anything about anyone. We don't know what kind of lobbies people are. I mean, it's multiplayer, right? I think, honestly, a lot of people are calling this laziness and stuff, but I think it's a little bit more nefarious than that. I mean, I guess if the combat records do come into the future and any of this is recorded and we're able to see everybody's stats and shit like that, what everybody was doing during this time, we'll be able to see the difference between the people that are, you know, doing this kind of shit versus the people that aren't. There's going to be a clear discrepancy in how many kills they have in their weapon, for example. If they didn't get any kills with, like, their pistols or something and all they did was use a tank the entire time, you'll see it in their tank kills and their lack of kills in that actual weapon category, even though they have it done. At that point, I think people just don't give a fuck. You can take the kill streaks in those care packages and just straight up get multiple kills with it, and it also counts towards the weapon. It's, yeah, that's really not how it should work. Leveled up a couple times in that game, and I don't even remember getting many kills with this at all. See, we saw all of these menus and stuff like that. Things were getting leaked and shit, and no one asked, where is the barracks tab? Just assumed, like, oh, maybe it's like, it's under operators or something. Even this is kind of bare bones. Like, yes, this is literally the worst UI we've ever gotten. I think we actually, there were jokes out there, but I'm pretty sure, all memes aside, an actual person that designed like, Hulu UI was the one that actually designed this stuff. So you can kind of understand that, although I don't think, you know, those apps and stuff like that are terrible design and UI wise, for a game like Call of Duty, you didn't need to try to reinvent anything. No reason to try to make it look like an app in comparison to other things. I understand that they're trying to have like this Call of Duty 2.0 or just Call of Duty app as one thing. You can even see it like over on your task manager. If you open the game, it just says COD. There is no Modern Warfare 2. If you're clipping it and stuff like that and it creates its own folder, it doesn't name itself Modern Warfare 2. It just says COD. Their intention is to get everything over on this kind of platform. I get that. But you don't need to make it look like Hulu. There's no correlation. It's just weird. I really do need to take the time to level launchers and stuff, but also, again, with all these leveling strategies and shit that people have out there, yes, you still have to do all the challenges, and ultimately you can only exploit the XP amount, I guess, but the challenges aren't really the hard part. Given, though, the actual stuff after unlocking Orion, the weapon mastery stuff, you do still have to get those kills, so unless some bullshit happens where all of these bot kills are actually counting as real kills, but that hasn't been the case on any other challenge, so why would it be here? I hit level 25, so I can go and do the final challenge. I don't need to play this anymore. That's literally just how you do it. The idea is that the less information that the player base has, the more uncertainty happens from all of the games. We get less and less information, so we have to work harder in order to provide proof of certain things happening. We didn't have anybody that actually even did like an entire study on skill-based matchmaking, and then it finally happened. They provided transparency that the company themselves don't want to, because they don't want us to know what's happening. They also benefit from the idea of a bad player that isn't very good at the game, that experiences the game in a completely different way from people that are better at the game, or people just that are in a completely different skill category from each other. It creates a problem in communication between players because we're not having the same experiences anymore, which also makes it more difficult to balance things because certain things could be more powerful within different metas. Also would lean more into the game being balanced around things that might not be as big of issues as you're thinking. They benefit from this miscommunication the same way they benefited from not clearly communicating the fact that people, for example, the double XP shit. People are upset because they thought that whenever they got the Vault Edition of the game, they were supposed to get double XP. But again, Activision did advertise it, but didn't advertise it a ton. But they were saying that you get that bonus through buying in the in-game store, not just from getting the Vault Edition. It says that on the graph that they put out there, but they didn't tell people a ton because they knew that people could potentially mess up the differences in where they buy it. They buy most of their games digitally or physically, whatever, and then they just go and buy it that way. They don't think that there's some extra bonus unless it's specified to them. And if they don't get that information, they're spending $100 on something. The reason they're spending that $100 is for something that they are not going to get. But Activision could just sit there and shrug their shoulders and be like, yeah, well, you should have read the fine print. I know that there's some legal losers out there that are like, yeah, well, technically they did say, well, technically there was a waiver, so you're ignoring how underhanded the practice is. That's the point. It's underhanded as fuck. So to be surprised that they're, you know, removing more and more transparency from things is not a surprise to me. And this isn't some new shit. It's just so many people were actually, like, fooled by this whole, like, double XP thing. Now, there were multiple people out there that did say you should buy it through the in-game store. People did try to warn people, but you can't expect everybody to be able to watch some random-ass YouTube video on something that doesn't look interesting at all. See a YouTube video that says, you might be buying Modern Warfare 2 wrong, or some shit. People are gonna be like, yeah, whatever, clickbait, and then they just won't even pay attention to it. That's not their fault, but Activision knows this. We are in the information ages. Oh, you didn't see the post about it? Oh well, information was right there. Unlucky. It's so fucked up, man. I get one kill and immediately it's like my character gets like 10 times bigger and everybody immediately looks over at me. Can't let this guy get the double kill. Okay, I'm struggling to get double kills. I'm gonna get the fuck off before I get mad.